What if I told you that a little harmless shame is the key to fixing a city, that might does not make right in any part of the world? Today, I'd like to share a little bit about the power of play in politics and the importance of cultivating a community spirit. Let's set the scene. The state of affairs in Colombia was not looking good in the 90s. Cartels were in full force, violence and kidnappings by militias like the FARC and ELN were increasing, and paramilitaries were roaming the streets trying to catch anyone they deemed suspicious. As a result, the average Colombian was expecting the worst for the people they cared about the most. You had to stay alert at all times, and you would do anything to get by. When it came to politicians, you just had to hope that they kept some semblance of stability and didn't make your life worse. This is where the key player of our story enters, a local philosopher, Antanas Mocos. He was famous not only for being the president of the National University of Colombia in Bogota, but also for his unorthodox ways of communicating. During a lecture where he was confronted by angry students, he pulled down his pants and mooned the audience to stop the chaos, which made everyone forget what they were mad about in the first place. After resigning from his position at the university, he launched a campaign to become the mayor of the city. His strategy was not like any of the mayors that came before. He focused on out-of-the-box thinking that might seem absurd on paper. When threatened by one of the strongest militias in the country, he decided to wear a bulletproof vest with a heart cut out of it to signal his defiance to their violent rhetoric. When Mocos successfully became mayor in 1995, he saw the city not as a problem needing to be fixed, but instead a classroom of 6.5 million students. He said knowledge empowers people. If people know the rules and are sensitized by art, humor, and creativity, they're more likely to accept change. Like any other major metropolitan like New York or Paris, Bogota has a lot of people and not much space on the streets. Time is money, so not waiting for a light to change or playing chicken with cars is the norm. When faced with an environment like this, there's very little that you can do other than slap people with fines that they are not bothered by or threaten them with more force. But Mocos had an unheard of strategy to address the issue of traffic incidents. Mocos decided to fire 1,800 traffic cops and replace them with people skilled in a different type of power, comedy. Replacing the cops in the streets were 20 mimes. The only tools they had were signs that said correct and incorrect, and their silent humor to mock lawbreakers and applaud polite drivers. Unlike cops who depend on coercive force, the mimes' only power was mockery and humor. Because of their lack of authority and their vulnerability in the traffic, the mimes were on a level playing field with everyone else, which allowed for a more direct approach. With neither words nor weapons, the mimes were doubly unarmed. The goal was to show the importance of cultural regulations. In addition to the mimes, Mocos distributed 350,000 thumbs up and thumbs down cards that civilians could use to express approval or disapproval of others' traffic behavior. Soon the number of mimes increased to 420, and they patrolled a few intersections in only 2 neighborhoods. By the end of his time as mayor, the homicide rate went down by 70%, and traffic violence decreased by 50% as a result of the civic culture of Bogota transforming. This might seem odd, because it certainly isn't what most people would assume would occur. But the word of mouth to other parts of the city was the real goal of the mimes. If people are given something that sticks in their mind and makes them reconsider their behavior, they're more likely to make that small change unconsciously. Behind this community policing lies the politics of play. The goal of the social experiment is to use art and humor to challenge the way that average citizens move through their daily lives. By having a willingness to engage with the mimes and play along, they were actively considering how they treat one another and their larger community. As a result, the average citizen is made to be an active participant in the theater of civic culture. Given the fact that I don't have any cars or jaywalkers to demonstrate with, I want to present to you another Mocos experiment to combat violence, asking people to draw the face of people they hated on balloons and blow them up, which they would then pop or let go. Besides this being a silly experiment, this illustrates the power of symbolic gestures to move away from resorting to coercive force and accepting violence as the answer to our issues. When it comes to the legacy of these experiments, it didn't end with just mimes. The Minister of Tourism in Bolivia adopted the idea of striped characters and created an initiative with zebras who would wordlessly react to people crossing the street or act like roadkill when drivers didn't stop far enough from the crosswalk. In the vein of rewarding good behavior, the Ontario Provincial Police in 2010 started giving out positive tickets with coupons and kind messages to kids and teens, which ended up bringing down the number of service calls concerning said youths by 50%. When considering these examples of community engagement through humor, what's happening in your city, in your community, or even in your own neighborhood that you think is too hard to address without creating more chaos? Are these problems rooted in your city being too underdeveloped? Or is the civic culture not strong enough to make a change? If a bunch of voiceless mimes can make people think about road conduct in a time when there's more pressing matters, what could you manage to do for the people in your community in a country where you still have the liberty to make that stand? In an opinion piece found in The New Yorker, Mokus reflected on the experiment in a way that I feel sums up the message of hope for people who strive to think outside the box. Changing a city is not the greatest political challenge. Sustaining that change is. As quickly as a city can progress, it can also fail. But never forget that huge changes can be achieved through surprisingly small steps. Making efforts for social change does not end with one big decision. It lies in the small choices that are sustained for years to come. You have to wake up every day and make a conscious decision to maintain peace in your community. And sometimes it requires to make yourself a fool a little bit.